The Minnesota Wild podcast is presented exclusively by Acrisure.
Minnesota Wild, Edmonton Oilers, tomorrow at 2 on the audio home for Wild Hockey. FM 100.3 KFXN, Minneapolis, St. Paul, The Fan. It's Wild Weekly on The Fan.
Pass it from Kaprizov, shoots and scores!
Now here to talk about the Minnesota Wild and the NHL. From the Wild, Kevin Fallness. And from The Fan, Brandon Molesky.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to KFAN Wild Weekly. We're going to do a little short segment here first because we're going to talk with Wes Walz next. But I'm Brandon Molesky. He's Kevin Fallness. Kevin, since I've seen you last, a lot of things have changed. With the Minnesota Wild, we have a brand new defenseman. We traded a bunch of players away, a bunch of young, talented players, but we got one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League now on our team. That would be Quinn Hughes.
Let me tell you something. Of all the weekends in 25 years of working with the Minnesota Wild that I chose to take off, it was the weekend that they land the biggest trade in franchise history. I was in the Snake Pit in Coleraine at my kids' hockey tournament Friday night, and I was talking to my oldest son, and he says, "Did you hear this?" I said, "What?" And he says, they traded for Quinn Hughes. I said, all right, yeah. And the Easter Bunny is flying around my house, too. He says, no, it's true. And then all of a sudden, all the hockey dads were coming up to me and going, is this true? What happened? And so then I started to believe, and just incredible the way the dominoes fell from that point forward. And to think of where this team went from October to now in the middle of December as we near the Christmas holiday, just unbelievable, the direction. They were worried about making the playoffs. Now people are putting them in the conversation to win the Stanley Cup. It's just amazing how fast things change.
It wasn't long ago where people were saying we need to tank this season.
Yeah, they were talking about firing people.
We went from tanking to we are Stanley Cup contenders. And
yeah,
obviously Dallas and Colorado is going to be tough in the Central Division. There's no doubt about that. But, for the longest time, Kevin, we've looked at Colorado and even Edmonton to a certain extent of Colorado's got McKinnon and McCarr, and there is nobody out there that can put out a duo as good as those two, right? In Edmonton, they don't have the forward defenseman duo, but they've got a pretty good offensive duo. The Minnesota Wild now, from a forward defenseman duo standpoint, I'm not going to say they're at McKinnon-McCarr level, but they are as close to McKinnon-McCarr as any team can provide in the National Hockey League now.
Yeah, and who would have thunk? I mean, it's just one swing like that for Bill Guerin, and I mean, it's impossible to think that this was even a possibility, and yet here it is. It happened. It's one of those things that you think in the fantasy. If you put this into one of those fantasy hockey trade calculators, I'd be like, fat chance. But yet here they did. They pulled it off, and it's just incredible. And the buzz in the fan base over the weekend, and I can't wait till this weekend what it's going to be like when they touch the ice. It's just amazing. Everybody's kind of standing at the glass. It's just a blast.
I can't wait till they're fully healthy. I mean, they are doing this right now. Since Quinn Hughes, 6-2 over Boston, 5-0 over Washington, 5-2 over Columbus. Yep. I get there's some empty net goals sprinkled in there as well, but they are doing this with half of the Iowa Wild up right now.
Yeah, it really does feel that way.
It's hard not to dream and fantasize of what this team can do fully healthy.
Yeah, and these aren't just bit players that are missing. These are guys that are legitimate pieces to this franchise. So they get them back. I don't know when or if this team will ever be fully healthy, but what they've been able to cobble together, despite the fact that they're missing those guys, it's been nothing short of amazing.
All right, let's talk Quinn Hughes. Let's talk elsewhere going on with the Minnesota Wild with Wes Walz, former Minnesota Wild center and television analyst for FanDuel Sports Network. We'll talk with him next, right here on KFAN Wild Weekly.
Boldy now to Trenyon behind the net. Trenyon muscle one in front. Eriksson Ek gets tight, whacking away. They score! Joel Eriksson Ek stayed with it and tucked it home. And the Wild have a 3-2 lead with 8:10 to go.
Joe O'Donnell on the call. Joel Eriksson Ek with the eventual game-winning goal as the Wild win again last night, 5-2 in Columbus. This is KFAN Wild Weekly. I'm Brandon Molesky. Kevin Fallness with me. Now please be joined on the television side by analyst for FanDuel Sports Network for the Minnesota Wild and, of course, former Minnesota Wild center Wes Walz. Wes, thanks for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, boys. Thanks for having me. A lot of meat on the bone. There's a lot to talk about right now if you're a Wild fan, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot to talk about. We could spend about 3 hours talking about what's going on with this team right now. But I want to get to first, before we get to this year's Wild, You are going to be kind of honored and celebrated this weekend, right? We're getting the band back together from your early Minnesota Wild days. You and a couple of your teammates are going to be honored as obviously the Wild celebrating 25 years in the franchise's history. What is kind of your emotions? I'm guessing at one point in your career, you never thought, hey, I'd be honored by the organization I'm playing for someday.
No, I mean, it's going to be a special afternoon for sure. I think this is the third game. The Wild are going to be wearing the retro jerseys, and I'm going to get a chance to spend some time with Richard Park and Brad Bombardier, who's out taking care of our kids all the time, so I hardly see him at all. I'm looking forward to seeing him, and Antti Laaksonen, who lives in the Twin Cities area here, is and I don't get a chance to see a lot of these guys very often. So, yes, we are going to be out center ice. We will be dropping a puck. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, it's been 25 years. It's amazing how the years have gone past. I mean, it does not. Truthfully, it just does not feel like that long ago that. That first game against the Philadelphia Flyers here in 2000, it feels like, honestly, 15 years ago. It's hard to believe 25 years have already gone by. But looking forward to seeing some of the boys that I don't see that often anymore. And, it's going to be a special night.
Along those same lines, how nice was it to see Jacques earlier this year? When you talk about the three, this is the third of three when you bring guys back. To have Jacques here for the first time since he left the organization, how cool was that for you as a guy that I know there's a lot of people you probably respect in this world? He's got to be right towards the top of the list.
Well, for sure, in the hockey world, respected is an understatement, and you guys have done enough interviews over the years. Anytime you talk to any player that's ever played for the man, other than even if you didn't wear a Minnesota Wild jersey, he coached in New Jersey, he coached all over the world or all over the league. Everybody looks up to Jacques. He's probably the best coach that he is the best coach that I've ever had, and at that time in my career when I joined the Wild in the year 2000. And he had me for the first 8 years, or the last 8 years of my career. There was really special. I never, I'd been 10 years into my career, basically up and down as an American Hockey League player. I think I played about 150 games in the NHL at that point. I went over to Switzerland trying to rebuild my game, and to come back to North America and get a chance when the NHL expanded with the Minnesota Wild and Columbus Blue Jackets, and get an opportunity to. At 30 years old, a little bit older, a little wiser, realized what it took to be a professional at that point, maybe a little bit more than when I came into the league when I was 20 years old. But having a coach that believed in me, he obviously wanted me. If I could spend an hour talking about my career, guys, it's amazing that I ended up becoming a checking centerman for Jacques Lemaire, considering the type of player I was earlier in my career as a guy who scored goals in junior. And I still remember playing for the Calgary Flames under Dave King for a couple years there. Like, anytime anybody was on the ice that had scored more than 25 goals in the NHL, I had to race off of the ice because Coach King did not like me as a defensive player, and I had to race off the ice. It was embarrassing, and I always knew that I was better defensively than anyone ever gave me credit for. I was just never given an opportunity. Jacques saw that in me right away at the beginning of training camp, gave me the opportunity, and I kind of just ran with it. So I'll forever be grateful to that man, and he changed my career.
Obviously, Wes, when we're thinking about the era of the players that are going to be out there along with you, we think of the 2003 run. Can you just tell me, after Game 7 against Colorado, after Game 7 against Vancouver, what was that locker room like? I have to imagine it's some of your greatest memories of your career.
Oh, it was amazing. I don't think, what are the rules? I think like 15 minutes, 12 minutes before the media can come in, Jacques come in. And I think it was when we beat Colorado, it was the first time I think that year that Jacques had actually come into the locker room and said something after the game. He normally just goes into the coach's room. He maybe said something for 30, 40 seconds, let's get ready for the next round or something. He actually went around the locker room and shook everybody's hand. And that never happened, ever. And that was the one thing after the Colorado series. And actually after the Vancouver series, too, where he shook everybody's hand. So that's something I remember. After the coaches went back in the locker room, I can't remember who his DJ was. I think maybe it was Willie Mitchell. He put on his tunes. Man, we were jumping around. We were jumping around like honestly, like 10, 15-year-old kids after they won a big game at the state high school tournament. That's exactly what it was. It was about 5 minutes of that. I remember Cliffy Ronning jumping around with his skates on. He's 39 years old. I'm looking around going, what is going on right now? That guy's played 1,200 games in the NHL, and he's jumping around like a 10-year-old kid. It was something that I'm glad you asked that question, because it just did jog a lot of memories in my memory bank about those 7 or 8 minutes we had alone together after we won those Game 7s. It was incredible.
Awesome memories. These four gentlemen will be saluted on Sunday before the Wild drop the puck against the Colorado Avalanche. Wes Walz, Brad Bombardier, Richard Park, and the great Antti Laaksonen. Get tickets at wild.com/tickets. That's going on Sunday before the Avalanche. You got the Edmonton Oilers coming to town on Saturday. And I don't know. I know you've talked about it on TV, Wes, and I'm sure you've talked about it everywhere you've gone. But since the last time I've had a conversation with you, one of the biggest hitters in franchise history landed on this Wild roster about a week ago today, probably about a week ago to this hour practically, when Bill Guerin pulled the trigger on bringing Quinn Hughes to the Minnesota Wild. My reaction was dumbfounded. How about you?
Yeah, I wasn't, when it came across my phone, I just happened to be actually looking at my phone at that time, and I'm like, well, this can't be right. I just sent a text message to a couple different people with a couple of question marks, and no, this is happening. And so, I think I was probably a little bit more, I think at the very beginning, I think a lot of Wild fans, right away were, I'd say maybe 60, 70% of the Wild fans were, we gave up too much to bring in this guy. And I actually, the first 3 or 4 minutes, I thought about that. I thought about it myself, and I said, yeah, I would probably feel the same way. And then the more I thought about it, I got to about the 10-minute mark thinking about it, and I'm like, no, this is Quinn Hughes. I know who this guy is. And I think now, guys, and I think you guys would agree, I think maybe I took it for granted that our fans really, really knew who we had traded for. And I don't think most of our fans really knew how talented and how creative and how good this and how special this hockey player is. He might be one of the 10 best players in the National Hockey League, and might because he plays 30 minutes a game like Cale Makar, he actually might be the top 5 most valuable, just because he simply is going to be on the ice so much. So, and then obviously our Wild fans, they got a chance to watch him play a couple games at home and get a taste. And I think now our Wild fans watch him play and go, oh, okay, I get it. And that's no disrespect to the Wild fans. I mean, I don't think a lot of us, Vancouver plays in the East Coast or the West Coast. Their games are at 9 o'clock. Not a lot of people in Twin Cities are staying up to watch Vancouver Canucks games late in seasons, and they haven't really had a long playoff run where we get a chance to watch them. And actually, he didn't play in the Four Nations. I think if he would have played in the Four Nations for Team USA, I think he was dealing with an injury. I think more of our fans would have understood exactly what he is. But our fans know exactly who he is now, and I can't walk more than 15 feet out in public without somebody asking me about Quinn Hughes. So it's special, and I'll answer any of those questions. He's a special player, and he has changed the trajectory of our organization.
Yeah, I think we could talk for 2 hours about Quinn Hughes, Wes. I mean, there's so many. It's weird talking like Kirill Kaprizov might not be our best player on our team anymore. I mean, Quinn Hughes might be at another level even higher than Kirill. Talk about just from what I've seen in the first 3 games, just philosophically and fundamentally how different the game is played when Quinn Hughes is on the ice. Because let's face it, he doesn't play like any other defenseman, Wes.
No, he plays like no other defenseman we've ever had in our organization. Obviously, in 25 years, there's so much more flow to our game. Obviously we've had some issues scoring off the rush and getting opportunities off the rush. Now all of a sudden the last 3 games, I think we're in the top 8 or 9 in the NHL in scoring chances off of the rush just from having one guy on the ice. And it's not just one guy. Brock Faber's game has gone to another level. He was playing amazing before Quinn Hughes came here. Now all of a sudden I'm watching him in traffic handle the puck, doing pull drags, and I'm watching his game change too. It's amazing. So like you said, we could go on and talk for an hour and a half about Quinn Hughes, but he just makes whoever's on the ice with him, he brings so much confidence. And I mean, I shouldn't say that. I played with Phil Housley for a couple years in Calgary, and when I played with Phil, he's one of those guys defenseman that you have so much fun playing hockey that when you're on the ice with like a guy like Phil Housley or Quinn Hughes, you can't wait to race to skate to open ice because you know there's a really good chance you're going to get it. So it makes the game of hockey so much funner to play than if you're just always playing with guys that are just chipping it in. And so just obviously a very creative player and special.
You use the word confidence, and you can see the confidence in the 3 games that they've played with Quinn Hughes in the lineup. It's certainly gone to another level, but let's not forget this team was playing some amazing hockey even prior to him landing here, and they're doing it with just this makeshift lineup. And no offense to the guys that are there, but I mean, you're missing 2 of the guys in your top 6. You're missing 3 from your defensive core. I guess 4 if you include Damon Hunt. How have they gotten this done, Wes? They're 18-3-2 since November 1st. Only 3 of those wins are with Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, just the amount of structure that this team is playing with, and you know, listen, when you have guys on your team like Matt Boldy and Kirill Kaprizov, who are 2 of the most skilled players in the world, and these guys set the bar for how hard they play every game. I don't care who you are. These are special athletes. These 2 forwards we have, they play hard. They have incredible skill, and they set the bar for how hard and how much structure we need to play with. Like those 2 guys never ever cheat for offense ever. They play a structured game. They change their, if the Wild are up a couple goals, they're not cheating for offense. They play inside the structure, and I think when you're any player, 3rd, 4th line guy or a guy that comes up from the American Hockey League, and you see those 2 guys and the way they play, that sets the bar for everybody about how we're going to play. And so just even outside the numbers that Kirill and Matt Boldy put up, they set the tone for the way the game's got to be played, and it's been remarkable, Kevin. Like Brandon, it's been remarkable. Like I'm walking around right now. Are the Wild going to lose again this year? Like that's how good this team is playing right now. And to think that through the weekend we'll find a little bit more. I know Coach John Hines at this afternoon is going to be speaking with the Wild squad, so we'll find out if some of those guys are going to be back. But it's been amazing what they've been able to do considering the guys that are out. And when you have athletes like Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy that set the standard for work ethic, it makes it a lot easier.
Before we let you go, Wes, of course, you run your own hockey camp through the Minnesota Wild, the Wes Walz hockey camp. Both my boys, Leo and Samson, will be in it up in Blaine up in August. They've done it the last 2 years and have absolutely loved it. If people want to get their children involved in the Wes Walz hockey camp, just kind of give us some info on what it's about and how they can get them registered.
Oh, yeah, thanks for that, Brandon. I appreciate that. Listen, it's you can go to wild.com/hockey school if you're interested to sign up or want any information about the camp. The camp runs the last week of July and the 4 weeks in August. It's a five weeks camps. We have different spots in Eagan, St. Louis Park, Blaine Super Rink, Woodbury. And yeah, we have an incredible instructors, boys and girls. Players come out. I think we have a few more. I would say we have more boys than girls in our camp, but girls come out as well. And we have incredible instructors. I think the kids get, I want to say, between 10 and 12 hours of ice a week. So the kids are on the ice a lot. Like I said, incredible instructors that make sure that the kids have a lot of fun. In my camps, I want to make sure the kids, when they leave, they love hockey. I don't want them, skating them into the ice and training hard and doing plyos. We do some of that stuff for sure, but we want to make sure that the kids are having fun. And it's been a camp that we've run now for, I think this is year 14, and it's been incredible. The Wild have been great in helping me market it and try to build it. The Wild have been gracious enough for any participant that signs up gets 6 lower bowl seats to a preseason game. We had Wild players come out. Matt Boldy came out and signed autographs for the kids, and Brock the year before. Jesper Wallstad came out and signed autographs last year. So we have a Wild player that usually comes out and signs autographs and does a Q&A with the kids. And 25% off at the Hockey Lodge. Honestly, guys, I could go on and on with value. You have to go to wild.com/hockey school to check out everything. And we just opened registration about 2 weeks ago. And I just actually had reached out last Monday to ask the registrar gal how the registration is going. She said it's the kids are signing up left and right. So
great.
If you're interested, wild.com/hockey school. And you can register. So thank you for that, Brandon.
Hey, enjoy the school. Good luck with everything with that, but also enjoy Sunday. I think it's going to be awesome to see you four gentlemen there at center ice, dropping the puck, getting the accolades you deserve. It'll be awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, boys. And honestly, these games this weekend against Edmonton and Colorado,
yes.
I'm looking forward to that even more.
How good would that
be? It's going to be amazing.
All right, thanks, Wes. Appreciate it.
Okay, see you, boys.
All right, Wes Walz, former Minnesota Wild center, does some TV work for FanDuel Sports Network. And as he mentioned, Kevin, Edmonton on Saturday, Colorado, that would be tomorrow, Colorado on Sunday. Those are two teams you might end up facing off against in a playoff match.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. And a couple of matinees. I mean, the way this team is going right now, they're just a wagon, and they're playing some unbelievable hockey. And don't forget, they've played some great hockey at home. I mean, they're playing great hockey no matter where you are, but I think a 13-game point streak now, dating back to November 1st, they're on fire. And they get the rematch with the Oilers. They blanked them in their barn earlier this month. The Avalanche, they went toe-to-toe with them on Black Friday. So it's going to be a blast. Starts tomorrow, 1:45 pregame against the Oilers. Beyond the Pond starts at 10 a.m., and we got some great guests, including Scott Sandlin, Tom Serratori, and Bob Stauffer from the Oilers radio network. He's pretty good. You'll enjoy him, not just about the Oilers, but about the NHL in general. So myself and Micheletti starting at 10. Puck drops about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
All right, he's got balls.
The best place to go for all your Minnesota Wild audio needs is the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. Everything Minnesota Wild related, including highlights, press conferences, players, coaches, general managers, and more. It's available on the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. It's all just a click away at wild.com/podcast.